Ronnie Coleman entered the 1998 Mr. Olympia as an underdog. Until then, he had never placed higher than 6th, and many in the bodybuilding world believed the contest would come down to Flex Wheeler and Nasser El Sonbody. Wheeler was known for his flowing lines and symmetry. Nasser had size and thickness. Ronnie, meanwhile, had been improving steadily, but most still overlooked him as a serious contender. That all changed the moment he stepped on stage. Weighing in at 245 pounds, Ronnie brought a new level of muscularity and detail. His legs were granite hard, deeply separated, with visible striations across the quads and fully etched hamstrings. His glutes were shredded, an area where many top contenders still lacked definition. But it was his back that turned the tide. Wide, dense, and impossibly detailed, Ronnie's rear double biceps pose showed a level of development that left both fans and judges stunned. Each muscle group was not only massive but perfectly proportioned and conditioned. His physique looked 3D under the lights, with muscle bellies that popped and a waist that stayed tight. And as the pre-judging progressed, it became clear that Ronnie was dominating most of the mandatory poses. Side chest, front lat spread, rear lat spread, he looked complete. Flex Wheeler still had incredible aesthetics and polish, but Ronnie was bringing something more extreme. The final callouts only confirmed it. Ronnie stood center stage, controlling the room with every pose. The fans reacted, the judges noticed, and when the scores were tallied, history shifted. Ronnie Coleman was announced as the new Mr. Olympia, and the underdog had built something truly next level, and this version of Ronnie wasn't going away. In 1999, Ronnie Coleman came back to the Olympia stage as the man to beat. After his big surprise win in 1998, people were watching closely to see if he could do it again. Ronnie stepped on stage even bigger than the year before, weighing around 257 pounds. He looked huge and powerful, but some critics said he didn't look as sharp or as dry as he did in 1998. His muscles were massive, but his conditioning wasn't quite as perfect. His main rival, Flex Wheeler, brought an incredible package. Flex looked polished, balanced, and full. Many thought it was the best version of Flex ever. His shape was nearly flawless, and for some fans, he looked like a real threat to take the title. Other top competitors like Chris Cormier and Nasser El Sonbody also showed up strong, but all eyes were on the comparison between Ronnie and Flex. Even though Flex looked amazing, Ronnie still had the edge in key areas. His back was thicker and wider, his legs were more powerful, and his overall presence was hard to beat. The judges agreed, and Ronnie was awarded his second Mr. Olympia title. Any doubt about 1998 being a fluke disappeared the moment he raised the trophy again. Heading into the 2000 Mr. Olympia, Ronnie Coleman already held 2 Sandow trophies. But instead of coasting on past success, he did what few champions ever attempt. He raised the bar even higher. That year, Ronnie returned with a physique even more imposing than what fans had seen in 1999. Weighing in at around 260 pounds, his body had become a showcase of mass, density, and roundness pushed to the extreme. This version of Ronnie was startling. His thighs had grown even thicker, with deep separation running all the way down to his knees. His arms, especially his biceps and triceps, seemed to inflate during every pose, and his chest looked wider and denser under the stage lights. But it was his back that continued to turn heads. His rear lat spread created a shape so broad and so detailed, it gave the illusion of wings. When he turned to hit a back double biceps, the crowd reaction was instant. Every muscle fiber popped. Every line told a story of control, pain, and insane training volume. That said, his appearance sparked debate. Some felt his added size came at a cost. Compared to earlier years, his midsection appeared slightly thicker, and certain details were harder to see up close. Critics whispered about whether he had pushed past the conditioning sweet spot, but then he posed, and the room erupted. For judges and fans alike, his scale-breaking size and overwhelming stage presence made those criticisms feel small. Ronnie's biggest challenge this year came from Kevin Levrone, a seasoned pro known for his polished physique and confidence under pressure. Kevin walked on stage with full muscle bellies, clean lines, and tight conditioning. In isolation, he looked incredible, but when he stood next to Ronnie, the contrast became clear. Ronnie's sheer size, especially from the rear, created a visual impact that few could match. Others like Sean Ray and Chris Cormier also delivered strong showings, but the top spot was really a 2-man race. And in that race, Ronnie simply overpowered his competition. Ronnie took home his 3rd Mr. Olympia title, solidifying his place as the clear number 1. And at this point, it wasn't about defending a title. It was about rewriting what a champion could look like. In 2001, Ronnie Coleman entered the Olympia aiming for his 4th straight win. But this time, a 28-year-old newcomer named Jay Cutler showed up in peak condition and pushed him harder than anyone had before. Ronnie stepped on stage around 265 pounds, continuing his trend of size-focused dominance. His legs were huge, his back was thick and detailed, and his upper body filled out in a way few could match. But his conditioning was slightly off. He wasn't as shredded or dry as he had been in previous wins. Jay Cutler, on the other hand, brought a much tighter, more conditioned look. His midsection was sharper, and his muscle definition was clean and consistent across all poses. He looked confident, calm, and focused, which made him stand out immediately. During pre-judging, many fans and analysts thought Jay might actually beat Ronnie. There was real tension on stage. For the first time, Ronnie looked vulnerable. Jay won several comparisons, especially from the front, but Ronnie's back shots, thickness, and muscle maturity still gave him an edge. When the final decision came, it was close. Very close. But the judges gave Ronnie his fourth Mr. Olympia title. Afterward, the debate exploded. Many believed Jay had done enough to win. Even Ronnie admitted he'd been pushed harder than ever. It was the first time his reign looked vulnerable, and the last time he allowed that to happen. In 2002, Ronnie Coleman returned to the Olympia stage with a more calculated approach. He trimmed down slightly compared to the year before, weighing in at around 266 pounds, but brought significantly better conditioning. His waist was tighter, and the muscle separation across his chest, arms, and legs had more detail. Jay Cutler didn't compete that year, but the lineup still included top names like Kevin Levrone, Chris Cormier, and Dexter Jackson. Each brought strong packages, but Ronnie's improvements made the difference. His front double biceps and most muscular poses hit harder than before, and judges took note of the restored balance between size and definition. His lower back and glutes were especially sharp, a key area critics had pointed to in 2001. With cleaner lines and dominant muscle mass, Ronnie left little room for argument. He secured his fifth Mr. Olympia win with confidence, re-establishing his lead in the sport. This was the year he turned dominance into something that felt inevitable. Ronnie Coleman's 2003 Olympia showing is still considered one of the most shocking in bodybuilding history. That year, he stepped on stage at a reported 287 pounds, the heaviest winning physique the Olympia had ever seen. You see, Ronnie managed to maintain conditioning that rivaled his leanest years. His muscles looked impossibly dense, especially in the back and legs. Every pose emphasized volume, with striations cutting through massive slabs of muscle. Many expected him to come in big, but few were prepared for the level of detail he maintained. His glutes and hamstrings were deeply separated, his lats flared wider than ever, and his arms looked cartoonishly large next to his tight midsection. Competitors like Jay Cutler and Dexter Jackson brought strong physiques, but Ronnie had redefined the scale. He wasn't competing within the normal standards anymore, he was setting new ones. The 2003 win marked a turning point. It proved that extreme mass, when paired with conditioning, could dominate the sport. Ronnie's combination of size and detail in 2003 hasn't been fully replicated since. Many still point to this version of Ronnie as the highest point of his reign. The blend of volume, shape, and conditioning created a look that fans still revisit today. To this day, fans still call it the peak of human muscular development. In 2004, Ronnie Coleman returned to defend his title for the seventh time, and the pressure was building. Jay Cutler was back and better than ever. Many believed this might be the year Ronnie would finally lose his grip on the throne. Ronnie answered that pressure by dialing in his conditioning. He came in around 296 pounds, slightly lighter than 2003, but with even sharper detail. His physique still carried the same overwhelming size, but now it was paired with cleaner lines and better muscle separation. The back shots continued to be Ronnie's strongest weapon. His rear double biceps and lat spread looked untouchable. From behind, few in the lineup could even compare. His glutes, hamstrings, and lower back all showed clear separation, which the judges rewarded. Jay Cutler pushed him hard. With improved conditioning and a strong overall package, Jay won several comparisons throughout the night. But Ronnie's mass and back dominance gave him the advantage on the scorecards. This win proved something important that Ronnie could adapt. He didn't rely solely on size. He refined his shape to meet rising competition and stayed ahead. Ronnie closed out 2004 with his seventh Mr. Olympia title, tying Arnold Schwarzenegger's record, and the following year would determine if he could break it. In 2005, Ronnie Coleman stood on the Olympia stage chasing history. A win this year would mark his 8th Sandow, putting him ahead of every champion before him, including Arnold Schwarzenegger. At 41 years old, Ronnie arrived at nearly 287 pounds, with the same dominating mass that had become his trademark. He carried that size with dense muscle maturity, especially in the back and legs. His rear poses still looked unbeatable, and his arms and chest remained as thick and full as ever. Jay Cutler once again brought a serious challenge. With improved conditioning and tighter midsection control, he pushed Ronnie through every round. For many fans and critics, the contest looked closer than ever before. Jay had better symmetry and better lines, but Ronnie had the size, stage presence, and undeniable impact. The judges gave Ronnie the edge, awarding him the historic win. With this victory, he became the first bodybuilder to win 8 Mr. Olympia titles in a row, setting a new benchmark in the sport. No one had ever looked like this, and no one had ever ruled this long. In 2006, Ronnie Coleman walked into the Olympia with 8 consecutive titles behind him. But at 42 years old, the toll of years of training and size battles had started to show. Fans noticed it, judges noticed it, and Jay Cutler had been waiting for this moment. Ronnie still brought size, especially in the upper body. His back remained one of the most developed in the sport, but his legs, particularly his left quad, had visibly downsized. His conditioning also lacked the crisp detail of previous years, making it harder to hide structural imbalances. Jay Cutler, now in his 5th Olympia attempt, came in dialed. He brought better shape, symmetry, and tight conditioning, especially in his midsection and legs. On stage, the contrast was clear. Jay looked complete. Ronnie looked tired. After years of being the runner-up, Jay finally outperformed the reigning champion. The judges awarded him the win, ending Ronnie's historic reign and crowning a new Mr. Olympia. In 2007, Ronnie Coleman returned for his final Olympia. At 43, his body had taken a toll, and the younger generation had caught up. He placed 4th, ending his reign without the crown. That night, the title went to Jay Cutler once again. But Ronnie's legacy was already sealed. 8 titles, unmatched size, and a work ethic that changed bodybuilding forever.